Well, for more on finance, we are now joined by James Gerrard from financialadvisor.com.au. James, good morning.
Good morning, James.
Well, we've been speaking about this. Tonight it's budget night. Of course, we're having an early one because of the impending election. Is there anything notable that you're expecting from this?
Yeah, that's right, James. So the federal government is indeed going to deliver the federal budget tonight, but the thing is that they're not meant to. Well, not yet anyway. If we go back to the beginning of the year, it looked like we were going to have a federal election around April. But what happened was Tropical Cyclone Alfred, and that delayed the Prime Minister's ability from a timing perspective to announce the election. So it looks like we're going to have the election sometime in May, which is the same date when you would typically have the budget. So to avoid that clash, the government has decided to bring forward the budget and hold it today. And it's going to be very interesting to see what the government announces in the budget, because typically these pre-election budgets are filled with spending promises to try and woo the undecided voters. But the government needs to be very careful this time around. And the reason is that the Reserve Bank of Australia has just started to reduce the official cash rate. And they're going to be watching the budget tonight like hawks. They're going to be looking at every spending measure. And if there's too much in there from the government around stimulus and incentives and spending, that may actually influence the schedule negatively of when the Reserve Bank's going to continue to reduce the cash rate. And if that happens, that'll be bad for the economy, it'll be bad for the government, it'll be bad for their chances of re-election. So the government has to really thread the needle really carefully here, because on one hand, it's really tough out there at the moment. People are struggling, prices have gone up, grocery, fuel prices, rent, mortgages. So there is a genuine justification for the government to step in with a big spending budget today. But again, on the other side, they need to make sure they don't add to inflation. So it's just trying to find that right balance, and we'll see what happens tonight.
Yeah, it is a tricky balancing act, because they do not want to see inflation spike. Speaking of inflation and the cost of living, private insurance premiums are set to rise from April. We've had a bit of coverage about how much they're already going up. But what should people be doing to get ahead of these price increases if maybe they're not that happy with their provider?
That's right, James. It happens every year. 1 April comes around, private health insurers increase their premiums. Most insurers have announced between 4 and 5% increase this year, which is quite substantial for a lot of families and individuals out there. So what I suggest is the obvious: shop around, particularly if you haven't reviewed your policy in the past couple of years. And I actually did this myself recently, and what I did was I went to the federal government's website on private health. They actually have a free comparison site where you can put in your details and you can find a whole list of potential private health insurance policies that's suitable for you. So the website there is privatehealth.gov.au. So I went there, and what I'd encourage people to do is to get a piece of paper and write down the top 5 things that you're looking for in a private health insurance policy. So it might be a premium in a certain band, it might be hospital cover that covers certain procedures like obstetrics, it could be extras that have high benefits in certain areas such as physio, chiro and dental. Go to the government's private health insurance comparison website, filter it by your criteria, and then you'll have a list of a whole heap of potential options for you. And then the next thing I did was I got a spreadsheet together, and in the columns I put every potential policy that I was interested in, and then in the rows I put my 5 criteria that I had. And then I went to every insurance company's website, I looked through the policy details, and that's really important. And I filled out my spreadsheet because every policy, every insurer will have different particular benefits. And what I mean by that is that some insurers will pay 30 cents in the dollar, some will pay 70 cents in the dollar on claims, some will have a lifetime cap on certain things like orthodontics. It might be $2,000 in a lifetime. Others will have annual caps that reset every year, and others will have a very limited list of providers, whereas others have a very broad list. So by filling out that spreadsheet, I then color-coded it from most attractive to least attractive, and then very quickly I had a very easy visual representation of what was the most appropriate cover for me. Now, it does take a couple of hours to do that, but it's really worthwhile because it can save hundreds, if not thousands of dollars by getting the right policy.
James, you are living the life that I aspire to live. Thank you for that inspo, and thanks for your insights this morning.
My pleasure. Thank you, James.
I would love to actually do that. I have private, I don't use it properly. I always miss out. I'm forever losing my glasses. I don't even have a pair in here.
I must admit, I actually jumped on the government website recently, and then because I'm paying through the roof, and then quickly I looked at it and went, It's too hard. I'm just going to push it back another
See,
day.
I would have almost put you in the colour-coded spreadsheet category, just close to.
Well, I was just impressed that James did that in a couple of hours. It's had me like 2 days.
Amazing. No, I'm not even picking on James. I think that's actually amazing. I would love to be able to do that. I just don't have the patience.